Amen. I want to say give it unto God. To all the ministers, saints, and friends. I thank God for our being here now. Amen. My husband is a pastor. He's a speaker, but I'm not a speaker. I'm this morning I said, I'm a good listener. I like to listen. Then after hearing what to do, I like to be a doer of His word. You know, I'm much forgetting I'm speaking. And when Wendy called and asked me to do this, we had been studying in Sunday school from the book of Ruth.
All right.
And I thanked the Lord for it. I said, yeah, I'm going to do it. I said, let me be first. I said, just give me somebody else. Choose. But I'm thanking God for my being here. And as you all know, there's a little soft spot in my heart.
Yeah.
This morning, I said last year, Jimmy played and
yes,
like he wouldn't be here. So he put his time in while he was here. And I tell you, Jimmy played last year. He was sitting there. But I tell you, Jimmy played. We miss him today, but I thank the Lord for blessing me to be here on today. And I thank the Lord, as I said, I want to talk to you about Ruth. And Ruth is a book. When I was a young girl, we didn't have television, we didn't have computers and all that. And so I like to open the Bible and read sometimes. I thank the Lord for I love to read the book of Ruth. I thank the Lord for the book of Ruth. And I want to read to you a little something concerning the book of Ruth. It says, McClain had driven Elimelech and his wife Naomi and his 2 sons from their home in Bethlehem to the land of Moab. And when I used to read this, I feel sorry for Naomi. She went through some things.
Yes.
There his 2 sons took Moabite wives, Oprah and Ruth. Within a short space of time, all 3 men died, leaving Naomi, Oprah, and Ruth's widows. That's kind of sad. 2 women died, and all of them left, as widows. And it says, in this situation, Naomi decided to return home to Bethlehem, where she was known and might be able to get some help. For the same reason, she advised Oprah and Ruth to remain in Moab, their own land. Right. Oprah took Naomi's advice and went back to her home people. Yeah. But Ruth declared total loyalty and devotion to her mother-in-law.
Yes.
Refused to leave Naomi and went with her to Bethlehem. So being a mother-in-law is not such a bad thing.
All right.
I had the best mother, and my mother was the best mother-in-law to her son's wife and to her daughter's husband. She was the best, I think. So it's not so bad being a mother-in-law. I'll let you all guess, but one of my daughter-in-laws called me. She said, I want you to be my Ruth. My Naomi. I said, oh, sure, you be my Ruth. Y'all guess who it was. Because I thank God for the relationship between all of my daughter-in-laws. All of my daughter-in-law. And I got a son-in-law, too. And, I thank the Lord for my son-in-law. Somebody was saying something bad about me, and my son-in-law stood up for me. So I called you standing up for me. I said, but when I don't do right, I said, now don't stand up for me. You don't what's right. You stand up for me. That's what the Lord said. And it says, at the outset, Naomi and Ruth found very little help in Bethlehem. For food, they had to rely on the few ears of corn Ruth was able to gather in the field after the gleaners had passed. One day, however, the owner of the field, Boaz, a kinsman of Naomi, noticed Ruth. It's good when a woman can stand up and somebody can take notice to you. And he made inquiries about her and learned of her devotion to her mother-in-law. He seen, how she had taken care of her mother-in-law. Yeah. So when it's good when you take care of your mother-in-law. And eventually married her. Obed, the child of their marriage, was the grandfather of King David. The book of Ruth is often cited as the perfect example of the art of telling a story. It does, of course, tell a beautiful and heartwarming story, but it has much weightier significance to show that God's favor is not restricted to the Israelite, but extended to the Gentiles. Aren't you glad today? Yeah. Ruth, a Gentile woman, was from Moab, became the ancestor of David, from whom the Messiah, was descended. Yeah. We thank the Lord for that. And how we were studying in our Sunday school lesson about Ruth, and how, he only told Ruth, how to, get with Boaz. He told her, to go on the threshing floor because, he'd go there and sleep at night, and she went and she told him to cover her up. Yes. And this was a sign of, she was asking him to marry her. Yeah. And I said, this has really been an encouragement to me about Ruth, because I think about how I graduated from school and I was all set to go to college, and I had to make a choice. Either go to school or get married. And I decided I wanted to get married. So my husband hadn't asked me to marry him. So I decided to ask him. And we went and got married. So that was my choice to marry him. I used to feel bad because I asked him to marry me. That sounds kind of hard up, maybe. She didn't mind getting it, and he told her all that you want me to do, he was willing to do it. So I thank God for my husband, for how he married me. And the Lord bless us to see the 1st of July, we'll be together 55 years.